You scroll through your feed and see it, the yacht, the mansion, the perfect life that isn't yours. Champagne glasses glitter under golden light. Someone you follow just posted another first-class flight, another perfect, unreachable world. Your stomach tightens. You wonder where you went wrong and why their life looks so effortlessly extraordinary compared to yours. They drive a Lamborghini, they wear a Rolex. Every weekend is a new destination, a new performance of success. You work hard, you save carefully, yet the gap between their world and yours feels impossibly, painfully, unbearably wide. You start to question your choices. Maybe you're not ambitious enough. Maybe you are simply playing the wrong game entirely. Designer bags, penthouse views, private dinners, all perfectly curated for a world watching everything through a glowing, judging screen. But what if everything you're seeing isn't real? What if that lifestyle is a beautifully constructed, financially dangerous illusion? What if the yacht is rented for the weekend? What if the Lamborghini is leased, quietly drowning its owner in debt? What if those designer clothes are financed on credit cards, with interest quietly devouring their financial future every single month? The performance of wealth is not wealth itself. One is a costume worn for others. The other is a foundation built quietly. You have been conditioned to admire the costume, to confuse the signal for the substance, the show for the reality. The distinction between appearing rich and being rich is one of the most important financial lessons money will ever teach you. Chasing the illusion of wealth is the fastest route to building nothing real, nothing lasting, nothing that is truly your own. Before you envy another highlight reel, you must understand exactly what you are looking at and what you are not. Economists call it conspicuous consumption, the deliberate display of expenditure designed to signal social status and project personal importance. Thorstein Veblen identified this phenomenon in 1899. Over a century later, social media has supercharged it beyond all original imagination. The psychology is ancient. Humans are wired for social hierarchy. Visible symbols of status trigger deep neurological responses in every observer. When someone sees a luxury car or designer label, the brain releases signals associated with perceived power and social dominance. Marketers and luxury brands understand this psychology precisely. They engineer desire not for the product, but for the identity it implies. And so the trap is set. Millions spend money they do not have to impress people they do not know. Financial researchers document this extensively. It is called lifestyle inflation, where every income increase immediately converts into increased visible spending. Lifestyle inflation does not build wealth, it consumes it. Every dollar spent on performance is $1 not compounding elsewhere silently. Studies show most people driving luxury vehicles earning under six figures are entirely financing those vehicles through long-term loan arrangements. The car payment, the insurance, the maintenance, all designed to project wealth that does not yet exist in any meaningful reality. This is not wealth. This is a debt-financed costume, worn publicly, maintained expensively, and quietly corroding every financial foundation beneath it. The truly wealthy, those in the top 1%, behave in a measurably, fundamentally different way than popular culture suggests. Thomas Stanley's landmark research in The Millionaire Next Door revealed a stunning truth. Most millionaires live well below their actual financial means. They drive modest vehicles. They live in ordinary neighborhoods. Their wealth is invisible because it exists on balance sheets, not social media. This is the first great distinction. Real wealth is invisible by design. Fake wealth is visible by desperate, deliberate necessity. Real wealth does not need an audience. It does not perform. It compounds quietly in brokerage accounts, real estate, and business equity. The fake rich rely on income statement wealth, appearing prosperous through high spending rather than through accumulated and compounding net worth. The genuinely wealthy think in balance sheet terms, total assets minus liabilities, growing invisibly and compounding powerfully over entire decades. There is a profound difference between someone earning $200,000 a year and someone holding $2 million in accumulated net worth. High income without asset accumulation is a financial treadmill. It generates comfort and the feeling of progress, but builds no lasting independence. In capital markets, this is called capital efficiency, the discipline of deploying every dollar to generate compounding return rather than consuming it visibly. The fake rich are capital inefficient by definition. Their money flows outward toward consumption, not inward toward any compounding productive asset base. Psychologists call this the wealth illusion, where people consistently overestimate the financial health of visible spenders and underestimate the quietly prosperous. The illusion creates a dangerous social feedback loop. Conspicuous consumption inspires imitation, spreading financial instability through entire communities over time. Research shows that lottery winners who publicly displayed new wealth were statistically far more likely to file for bankruptcy within just a few years. The display attracted expectation. Expectation drove consumption. Consumption outpaced income, and the illusion collapsed under its own expensive, This is not an isolated story. It is a systemic pattern that financial institutions, luxury brands, and credit markets actively depend upon perpetuating. Credit availability is the great enabler of fake wealth. Easy borrowing widens the gap between appearing rich and actually being financially free. Interest rates, minimum payments, and revolving debt. Invisible mechanisms maintaining the illusion while silently transferring real wealth upward to lending institutions. Understanding this architecture is not cynicism. It is financial literacy, the intelligence required to navigate the modern economy without becoming its casualty. So how does one identify real wealth? The answer begins not with what you see, but with what remains entirely invisible. Real wealth lives in the balance sheet. Assets that appreciate, generate income, and compound silently without requiring constant visible reinforcement or performance. Think of fake wealth as a cut flower. Stunning in display, expensive to maintain, but disconnected from any sustaining root system beneath it. Real wealth is a forest. Invisible from the outside, slow to grow, but entirely self-sustaining and deepening in silence over decades. The first marker of real wealth is asset ownership, assets generating income independently of the owner's active labor or daily presence. A rental property collecting rent, a diversified portfolio compounding annually, a business running profitably without the founder's constant physical presence or attention. These are the engines of financial freedom. Self-sustaining systems producing value while their owner sleeps, travels, or pursues entirely different meaningful priorities. This is what wealth strategists call passive income. Not passive in effort to build, but income generated by systems created through prior deliberate action. The fake rich have no such systems. Remove their salary and the entire lifestyle collapses within months, sometimes within just weeks. The most important test of financial independence. What happens to your lifestyle if your primary income source disappears completely tomorrow? If the answer is catastrophic, you are income dependent. And income dependence is the defining fundamental characteristic of financial fragility and exposure. Real wealth creates what Charlie Munger called the flywheel effect. Each asset generating return that funds the next compounding asset seamlessly. Business generates profit. Profit funds real estate. Real estate generates equity. Equity funds portfolios. Portfolios generate dividends. This flywheel is invisible to observers. It leaves no social media trail. It simply compounds, quietly, powerfully, and relentlessly moving forward. The second marker of real wealth is the ratio between net worth and spending. How little the truly wealthy actually consume relative to what they own. Warren Buffett, among the wealthiest humans in history, still lives in the same modest Nebraska home he purchased in 1958 for $31,000. His wealth is expressed not through consumption, but through ownership. Stakes in enterprises generating billions annually, invisible in any daily lifestyle present. This is stealth wealth philosophy. The deliberate choice to accumulate invisibly, resist the performance of prosperity, and let the balance sheet speak for itself. The third marker is time sovereignty, controlling your own schedule, working only when desired, refusing obligations without experiencing any financial consequence. Or the fake rich are time poor. They work relentlessly to maintain their lifestyle's appearance. The golden cage is entirely real and very expensive. A leased Lamborghini demands a monthly payment. A rented penthouse demands monthly rent. Every piece of the performance demands continuous, exhausting financial maintenance costs. Real wealth purchases time, buying back hours, days, and years that would otherwise be spent maintaining a system built on obligation alone. Money, in its truest philosophical function, is a tool for time arbitrage, converting financial capital into temporal freedom, which is the ultimate luxury. The fourth marker is generational thinking, building something that outlasts the individual and creates financial structures designed to benefit future generations permanently. The fake rich think quarterly. The next vacation, the next upgrade. The genuinely wealthy think in decades, sometimes in centuries, always in legacy. Family offices, trust structures, estate plans, generational equity. Instruments of real wealth, entirely invisible, entirely unglamorous. The fifth and most elegant marker of real wealth is psychological peace, the absence of financial anxiety, the calm certainty that tomorrow is secured. The fake rich live in quiet terror. Every month is a performance under immense pressure. Every expense is a gamble on fragile, continued income. Real wealth is characterized not by excitement, but by serenity. The deep, unshakable calm of knowing your financial foundation is permanent and unassailable. This serenity cannot be faked, filtered, or financed. It is the exclusive product of patient, deliberate, consistent wealth building over years of Now return to yourself, to that person scrolling through the feed, feeling the weight of comparison and the quiet hunger for more. You now know something most people will never understand. What you were envying was not wealth. It was the performance of wealth. Performances are exhausting. They demand an audience. They demand maintenance. They demand the sacrifice of real freedom for a manufactured illusion of status. The life you truly want is not the one on the screen. It is quieter, deeper, and far more powerful than any filtered photograph. It is the life where Tuesday morning feels exactly like Saturday, where no alarm forces you into someone else's timeline or agenda. It is the life where your money works harder than you do. Assets compounding silently, funding every tomorrow without demanding your time or energy. It is the life where your name is unknown to the public, but your balance sheet speaks volumes in the language of genuine freedom. You do not need a Lamborghini to be wealthy. You need assets, you need systems, you need discipline to build invisibly and think long. Start by asking not, how can I look wealthier, but how can I become wealthier? Two questions leading to entirely different lifelong destinations. One path leads to consumption, beautiful debt, and a golden cage. The other leads to compound growth, time freedom, and unshakable financial foundation. Wealth is not what you wear. It is not what you drive. It is the distance between your income and your expenses, multiplied by time. It is the freedom to say no to obligations, employers, and any timeline not your own, and feel only calm, absolute certainty. The greatest modern luxury is not a private jet. It is waking each morning with complete sovereign ownership of your own extraordinary day. True wealth is what you don't see. Quiet equity, silent compound interest, an invisible forest growing beneath the surface of an ordinary life. Begin building what no one can photograph, no one can envy, and no one can ever take, because that invisible foundation is the only wealth that truly lasts.